Dr. Tommy Elliot was a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne. He becomes a costumed criminal who targets both Batman and Bruce Wayne. Although Hush's name originates from a nursery rhyme, Hush lives up to it by using manipulation and guile instead of noisy signatures. Tommy and Bruce Wayne were childhood friends, and unbeknownst to Bruce, dark reflections of each other. A childhood sociopath, Elliot tried to kill his parents so he could inherit their fortune. When his plan failed, due partly to the surgical skills of Bruce's father, Dr. Thomas Wayne, Elliot blamed Bruce. An incredibly skilled surgeon as an adult, Elliot planned an elaborate revenge scheme on Wayne. He disguised himself as the villain Hush, his face covered in bandages, but in the end he was defeated and unmasked by the Dark Knight. Hush still plots revenge against Batman, generating complicated schemes with surgical precision. Born a child of wealth and privilege, young Tommy Elliot became close friends with Bruce Wayne. Bruce's father, Thomas, was happy to see the children bond, and felt that Bruce had finally found a friend to whom he could relate. Tommy and Bruce enjoyed playing games of strategy, with Tommy always seeming to outmaneuver his otherwise brilliant friend. However, while Bruce enjoyed his parents' company, Tommy hated his father, who was drunk and always abusive. His mother, who had originally come from a background of poverty, did next to nothing to help her son, as she was willing to endure every abuse dealt to her and her son in order to keep her lavish lifestyle. Instead of defending Thomas, she forced him to memorize Aristotle as a way to deal in a subtle, passive way with his father, something for which he never forgave her. One day, Thomas Wayne took Bruce and Tommy with him on a business trip to Metropolis. He instructed them to stay in their hotel room, but they snuck out to see the big city, where they witnessed a battle between the formerly retired superhero Green Lantern and his old nemesis the Icicle. Tommy crafted a scheme to obtain his own fortune. He severed the brake lines on his parents' car, sending the vehicle careening off the side of the road. Tommy's father was instantly killed, but his mother managed to survive, thanks to emergency surgery by Bruce's father. Tommy eventually came into possession of the fortune that he so desperately wanted, but he had to wait years, watching his mother suffer and ultimately succumb to cancer. Twisted by his own avarice, he inwardly blamed Bruce Wayne for his perceived good fortune after the deaths of the Waynes left Bruce in exactly the position that Tommy had sought to create himself, a mentality that would one day fuel an elaborate plot to destroy Bruce Wayne altogether. Aided by the Riddler, who had recently used a Lazarus pit and had an epiphany that led him to realize Batman's true identity in the bargain, Elliot set up an elaborate plot against Batman. As part of this plot, he mutated Killer Croc and had him set up a kidnapping to provide additional funds. Poison Ivy took control of Catwoman, and later briefly controlled Superman. To provide additional security, Elliot faked his own death at the Joker's hands, with Clayface posing as Elliot's body, to provoke Batman into killing the Joker and thus destroy him as a person. And Scarecrow caused further discord among Batman's allies. During this time, Elliot assumed the identity of a man whose head was wrapped in bandages and spoke in a low voice when observing his plan. While Hush is a modern character, there is a history of bandage-faced men in Batman comics. The Crime Doctor's first appearance in Batman number 77 was as an underground surgeon who could change his identity with masks. In Frank Miller's Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, Harvey Dent's face is repaired through plastic surgery, but his violent alternate personality resurfaces while he wears bandages that cover his face. One of Batman's most intelligent adversaries, Hush has incredible, genius intellect which is displayed in his astounding talents in both medical science and strategies. Hush is a genius master surgeon. His tremendous talent in surgery allow him to become a world-class surgeon and neurologist, performing extremely difficult or near impossible medical breakthroughs such as removing Harold Allnutt's chronic kyphosis that was deemed incurable by his contemporaries, including Batman, who had used all his resources to find a way to cure Harold's kyphosis to no avail, and also curing Harold muteness, giving him the ability to speak. Hush had saved Bruce's life from a fatal skull fracture, and also removed Catwoman's heart and placing it in a machine constructed by Mr. Freeze to keep it beating without any permanent damage. Hush also repaired Harvey Dent's half-disfigured face, perfectly restoring his previous visage, and also performed plastic surgery on himself, using minimal anesthetic and sheer force of will to alter his face to look identical to Bruce Wayne. Hush is an extraordinary master planner and manipulator. His tactical genius is on par with the Batman, with his greatest asset being his talent for thinking like his opponents and using their abilities against them. Hush had shown his tactical genius at an early age, teaching Bruce the vital basics of relying on strategies and tactics to fulfill his goals, ingeniously planning to commit parricide by having his parents died in a car accident he set up, which partially failed due to Thomas Wayne's surgical skills. He had almost defeated Batman using cleverly planned tactics. Hush is a master marksman in dual-wielding M1911.45 caliber pistols. He managed to kill Harold Allnutt via accurate shots to his head and heart from behind Batman. He could match Batman's precision with his batarangs, easily shooting down two of them in mid-air, and set off C4 explosive he had strapped to the Batmobile with a single shot. Hush keeps himself in top physical form. He possesses great physical strength, often augmented by his hatred of Bruce Wayne.